Hello everyone and welcome to another video. It is I, Umber-Raze, and today I'm here to talk about the Wave Battle event. The Wave Battle event is something that is brand new to the JP side, and for people on the global side, this is not the thing that you got recently. Basically, the global event was a skimped down King Mog event, where this is very much something entirely different, and something that I have to talk about because as a new feature added to the game, it is a new type of event. It is something that maybe you should be definitely a little worried about. Maybe it's something that you should not be worried about. But I really do want to talk about this because this has been an interesting experience for me, not even talking about anybody else's experience. I just think that this is pretty interesting. So from the looks of it, there are approximately 60 different floors. And we should start by actually giving the overview of this event. This event is a time-limited event, so it's basically like your raids or your King Mogs or anything like that. Now, in this event, you will have to go through specific floors, starting on floor 1 and going all the way up, in series of 5s going up to the 20th floor. Once you get to the 20th floor, you will head into the basement levels, which have more floors, and I do believe that there are 40 basement floors, but I haven't been keeping up with the exact stuff because, as you can see, I'm not there. I'm actually really not interested in getting there. But for doing this, you will get certain rewards as you go up the number of floors. Most of the rewards are basically limit burst pots. Now, recently on the JP side, we've been getting brand new types of Final Fantasy characters that have level 40 limit bursts that have insane requirements to try and max out their limit burst. CG Lightning, for example, is a character that has a level 40 limit burst that takes an incredible amount of resources to get to that max amount. Is it worth it? Yes. CG Lightning's limit burst is very strong, but limit burst pots are definitely in a short supply again. So this new event was supposed to be a new way to get limit burst pots for a lot of people. There are also a few other small rewards in here, a ticket, a couple hundred lapis, and so on. And going up, there seems to be not that much in the way of lapis or anything else, basically just limit burst pots. And I get that some people will take my criticisms of this A, far too negatively, or B, what's another way to put this? Well, the rewards just aren't that good, so why do you care that much? I guess because I was a little bit shocked about this event. This event, I do not consider myself one of the bigger whales. I'm just not. I'm just really not. Yeah, I have a big collection. Yeah, I spend money on the game. But I don't spend a huge amount, and there have been more months recently where I have not spent any money or spent the smallest amount needed to get some big reward that Alan was offering because they need money. Anyway, I guess continuing back with the overview of this event, you basically have to prepare 3 different parties, and that can be a total of 15 characters as well as 15 summons. The rules are you are not allowed to use the same party in different waves, you are not allowed to use the same characters in different waves, and you are not allowed to use duplicates. So basically this is the 10-man trial, except more extreme because you don't need to gear 10 characters of your own, you need to gear 15 characters of your own. And specifically it seems like you need to gear a lot more stuff. Even I have been finding it just a little bit of a pain. But it is not in just the gearing that the problems arise. I mean, summons and whatever, if you play the game long enough, I think you'll be totally fine for that. Same for equipment. A lot of the floors up to the point where I'm at have not exactly posed the greatest amount of damage dealing, but have been just tankier and tankier. It is when you get to the basement floors that a particularly dirty trick is played. And people can argue with me on this. Maybe there's been new discoveries in strategies and everything. But it still is something that I feel is just kind of a dirty trick. And that is Physical and magical immunity. This has made these floors far more difficult than it has needed to be. If you consider that there are 60 floors, and I've kind of just... This was the point that broke the camel's back for me, when it was just like, no, I'm not interested in doing this. I'm not interested in fighting this tanky of stuff. And it gets far worse in later floors, including not only trial level bosses, but trial level Kai, or trial level extreme bosses. Basically, the extreme, most difficult versions of the trial bosses are later on the much deeper floors, near, I believe, floor about 57, if you were just counting the floors and basement floors sequentially. Long story short, this is a surprisingly difficult event, and it's mainly because of this kind of brick wall right here. I do think that there are status effects that you can potentially use on these floors to make them easier, but given that most of the rewards going up are actually just limit burst pots, unless you're a super serious player who's trying to max min everything, this is a pretty easy event to pass. And honestly, the physical and magical immunities make it far worse trying to gear parties, because now you're not trying to gear for 3 parties. That's actually doesn't feel the worst. What feels bad is trying to make 3 parties of magic chainers. Physical chainers or magical chainers, if you don't have the necessary stuff yourself, you're really screwed on this event. You can't bring friends, you can't really get outside help. This is a very kind of self-centered event where you are just basically using everything you have and no one else can help you. And I think it goes a little against the spirit of the game, and 15 characters is a lot. It is a lot, especially for magic only or physical only. And you can get pretty badly schooled in some of these fights. They do get considerably stronger, considerably quicker. And I feel this is kind of like the weapon enhancement event that came out and was eventually scaled back a little bit in difficulty. I feel like this is the event that will also be scaled back in difficulty because it is pretty damn nasty right now. Super advanced, super time, super like players with just a lot of time and a lot of characters, and very specific characters later to face a lot of those trials in sequential battle. Also, I should state, it's not like you have to, I don't think you have to fight 3 Kai battles in a row. That would be insane without a friend unit. But the requirements for this event have felt very unfriendly. Again, I've talked about this in the past. Brave Exvius has a real tone issue in like who it is making certain things for. And this event doesn't feel like it was made for a player that just started the game. As a matter of fact, this feels very anti-new player. There is the raid, the Final Fantasy V raid going at the same time, so it's not like there's nothing to do. But this is an event that just hasn't felt that good and hasn't felt that fun or interesting. Especially, I should say, just the kind of the ugly tricks of this. The ugly side of just putting in Kai version trials, and I get it. The rewards higher up are just king limit burst pots, and there are other ways to get that. I was just kind of shocked, I think, about how difficult the content got, and how quickly. I thought that maybe, and maybe it's just because I've kind of given up, but it feels like the difficulty could have ramped a little bit slower. And I don't feel like the physical and magical feels like a hard barrier to a lot of players of just being like, you don't have 6 mages, get the fuck out of here. You don't have 3 breakers, get out of here. And again, some of the stuff lately, Blood Moon Kai has felt very negative against the players, and this kind of feels a little bit like that. Not so much. And I should talk about both the good, the bad, and the ugly of this. The good, I think, is that it is a new event. It is something that is trying to give players something new to do, you know, especially during raids. There isn't always things you can do with your stamina, especially during the week. So this does give, and the stamina cost is incredibly low for having to fight some of the trials. I don't, the bad is, I think that some of the dirty tricks that are used, and no, I guess I should put that in ugly. The bad part of this is that it just doesn't feel overly fun. It doesn't feel that interesting either to get a lot of old content just with buff stats. It doesn't feel that interesting and that motivating, and the rewards of just more limit burst pots are nice, and supposedly there's a blank Moogle container, but you have a better chance of getting a blank Moogle container from any other way in this game right now than you do from potentially doing this event. And that's ridiculous. I thought we were finally going to get a Moogle container that would be easy for, you know, lower level players to get, and this is not it. This is not it at all. So I guess I'm considering this a little bit more in terms of lower end players. And of course, the ugly is just some of the things that are done. I think that the difficulty ramp is far too high for the requirements of 15 characters, 15 summons, with 15 different loadouts too. It's pretty damn heavy already. And the physical and magical immune floors, where it's just pure all magical immunity and then pure all physical immunity, it takes a long time to set up all of these teams, unless you've been, you know, saving party loadouts for the last little while. And even then, you still need to have kind of some foresight to have designed these parties. But yeah, when it comes to this new event, I think that it should stay. For one thing, it is a new source of multiple different rewards or resources that I think are needed in the game for a lot of players. And I do like that it is kind of a little bit challenging to build certain puzzles. But I wish the puzzles were a little more interesting rather than just all physical, all magical, or whatever you have. And I think that the difficulty definitely needs to be scaled back. If there wants to be an incredibly high difficult end, perfect. I think you can do that, but I think that it should be a little more welcoming to players, at least a little bit longer. I foresee that a lot of players will have difficulty as soon as you hit the basement, and the frustration can just be really high, as I have found out. So yeah, when it comes down to it, there's definitely some good things about this event. I think that it should continue into the future, but much like the weapon enhancement event that came when it first came out, the difficulty in that was too high, and the difficulty in this definitely feels too high. You want to keep the extremely high challenge levels, that's fine, but maybe push them back a little further so, you know, players don't feel like, well, I did a third of the event. Guess that's what I get. Anyway, of course, let me know what you think. As always, I welcome any sharing of opinions, but my mind is pretty set on this. It's a cool new event for the most part, but difficulty way too damn high. And for people on the global side, good luck farming all that equipment and all those characters. Till next time, see you then.